Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game.
Like checkers.
Let's meet the panel.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Tara.
And I'm Josh. And Tara, it's nice to have you back for another season.
It's great to be back.
And we are going to be seeing more of Tara this season, if you liked her from season 15. We are going to be going over a graphic text called Class Act by Jerry Craft. We went over New Kid last season, and we had a great time reading it and talking about it. And Tara suggested that we put it on the schedule for this season. So,
Really
you have a discussion starter?
good stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the first question I had. How harmful do you think the phrase "we don't see color" is when a teacher said it in the comic?
We don't see color.
Mm-hmm.
And this was Mr. Roach.
He was an odd character.
In the first...
At least that's what I got out of it.
Okay, in the first book, I thought that he was pretty... He was somewhat comical.
Yes.
And
yes,
he was
definitely.
more... In this one, he seemed more desperate and annoying.
Yeah, he was
And as far as we don't see color, I think that this is them trying to do their... They're trying to do their best to make it seem like they're being as inclusive as possible,
Right.
when it almost feels like it's it feels like they're scrambling and it's not genuine.
I feel he's trying way too hard.
And I
That's
think
what I
that
was saying.
and I think that in this book it's all about being able to authentically
Right.
be inclusive, but that it's not too hard to do so.
No.
And they're like overly doing it, making it seem harder than it really was. Like the simple math on 1 + 1 = 2, but people are like, oh no, it means 4. Like,
I don't know
that's
math,
what-
but I'm going to go off and say, what?
That's kind of like 1984, where the 2 + 2 = 5 kind of thing.
No, it doesn't. 2 cookies plus 4 cookies is... I can't do math.
But yeah, we didn't have Mrs. Rawl, thank goodness.
Oh, she was annoying.
But Mr. Roach was just way too. He was
Too easy.
yeah. He was just doing. He was just way too desperate and
Yeah.
just, and it didn't seem. I couldn't stand when he was. There's no more fighting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, I can understand if people are saying racist things or getting physical with each other, beating each other up, but people have a right to disagree and
Mm-hmm.
express it passionately as long as it doesn't get out of hand.
Exactly. And
So-
as part of what a lot of humanity has lost is that it's okay to agree to disagree. We can still be friends. I might not agree with what you're saying, but I'm not also gonna say all of these are, when it comes to the childish stuff, what we teach our children not to do, name calling, telling lies about people. Oh, this person's a son of a we can't use it on camera, but you know what I'm trying to say. And it's like we have lost the art of civil discourse. We have lost that art. And I am not anyone, I'm not a scholar in that area. It's just common sense. Look around. Look around. It's not everywhere, but it's, you know.
But I think there was that scene where they have that argument as far as names are concerned.
Yeah.
Where they talk about why I think it was Andy that brought up why black people have all of these names like Lawan and
Yeah. TJ, HJ, or you
not
know,
really so much.
or-
There's and then
um,
And then Drew rebuttals with, well, why do white people why are they all named after presidents like Lincoln and Carter
something like an IST.
and Reagan and that kind of thing?
Yeah. Tyler was one of them.
Yeah, Tyler.
Yay, Tyler! I'm
Taylor.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Jackson.
my answer to the question is, he was doing more harm than good. Like, good intentions, but, like, you're doing more harm. And when you don't see a person of color, you're not, seeing them for who they are individually as an individual person, because then you're just generalizing everybody, and you need to look at people individually.
I agree with that. I think that
Because you notice he wasn't, because most teachers were giving them generalization instead of individual.
Yes, and
independence.
people are in different circumstances, because Jordan and Drew are both people of color. Jordan is in a much better circumstance. It may not be the best, might not be an upper end circumstance like Liam is, but it's better than someone like Drew who lives with his grandmother who still has to work.
Right.
And she like working very long hours, and just so you can have a play at home to eat.
And their living quarters are not very. They live in an apartment.
And they're not really well apartment.
No.
And then in the inner cities, apartments are not very well kept. Don't ask me how I know that. But when you are friends with a lot of police, fire, EMTs, military, you hear stories and you hear things. And it's like, there's a saying, buy cheap, get cheap. But
What are your thoughts about the concentration of this piece? Because New Kid was basically it was all Jordan and Jordan's perspective, but this one concentrates more on Drew.
The only time you got Jordan was his little comics. You got a different perspective. Friend, maybe like different. It was okay. I'd rather be with Jordan, but Drew was I got to understand Drew.
I think it
and
all
where he came from.
I think it all depends on what Jerry Craft wants to accomplish. If he makes this episodic, I don't know. Has anybody here watched Hey Arnold?
Yes.
Hey,
Arnold Craig Bartlett was brilliant with the show, and he had a lot of concentration on. He concentrated on all of the characters, or as many as possible. There were some more than others, but
I noticed that now going back into the recesses of my bagel bite laden brain. I remember that.
If he wants to take that direction where we get the perspectives of all different characters, then this can keep going on for as long as Jerry Craft wants to write this.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. It's just.
However, I don't know if he wants to do that, because it starts out with Jordan starting his year, and we're curious to see where what's going to happen as things progress. I mean, this only goes up until December of that year, and but whether or not, what is the direction? Because we don't get as much. I felt like we got a much more fulfilling idea of the different characters in New Kid.
Yes.
And yet, it was a little bit of everything with the major concentration on Jordan. Here, we're supposed to get more of a concentration on Drew, but I think that there's more to be desired. I liked the fact that everybody was able to go to everybody's places.
That's what I wanted to bring up. I also, excuse me, paint chips. No, when I read this book in a day, and I could not put it down. It was that great. I don't mean to jump the gun, but when they went over to I believe it was Drew's house, and they realized not Drew, the other I'm mixing up names. I'm sorry, but when they went over to the big mansion house, Liam, excuse me. Oh my goodness, and they got pulled over on the way there. Because they were let go. That's one thing that stuck out in my mind too. That I don't know if that was a part of racial profiling. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road. But that was something that stuck out in my mind. But I love how they all got a sense of, wow, you have a butler, you have an indoor pool, you have this, you have that. But now we understand why you are the way you are. And then they have them come over to their place in the apartments, and they go to the community center, and he gets a taste of everything, and then he understands. So I like that. I really thought that was
And then the ending,
Just awesome.
where Liam goes to Drew's, is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
sentimental because, and especially the beauty that Drew simply finds by sitting out
Yeah.
on his by his window or on his balcony. Yes,
It's
and looking at the city.
And I really like that because like then it just shows like true friendship right there.
Mhm.
Like I love books that show friendship and how each friendship grows. They have like bumps in the road because like he wasn't sure how to act with his friend because he realized how his friend was rich and the I'm not sure what that guy the one character was, and he said don't let his family have your taint your opinion about your friend.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
I think he was their butler or driver. He drove and
Mhm.
he watched the kids when they were in the pool. Not watch the kids. He would supervise. For crying out
Yes.
loud. Okay, let's
Mhm.
let's get that clear. But he, I also noticed too. Drew didn't go in the pool. I wonder why that was about.
I think he was afraid of water, or not afraid of it, but like I think he can't swim, or doesn't want to.
All right, so
It
there.
might be something there.
I also wondered too deep down because I read this book in a day, maybe a day and a half, but I do a lot of analytical thinking too, and I also think from the legal aspect. Sorry, can't help it, but like they said, Liam's mom was an attorney, and she was all over the place with jumping over her words, kind of like me in a way. She just like they had this pizza, and they said you could bring it home. Not was saying we don't eat it at home. She was trying to not be offensive. I think that was done intentionally on
Mhm.
the author's part because I think he's trying to say more and more people are trying to, I guess you could say, own up to history's mistakes, shall we say? But again, trying too hard.
Mhm.
That was something I found out as well. Just figured out.
I know that another question that Tara briefed by me, I want to
Yay,
touch
question!
upon,
Okay, go
is
ahead.
what did you think was the funniest part in this book?
When
There's a lot of
what's that white kid, the bully of last
Andrew.
one? Andrew, when his brother turned,
For Andy, yeah.
and when Andy, older brother, actually dyed his skin green.
Oh, Kale, his brother
Kale.
Kale.
That was hilarious.
That
I
was-
love that, and it was a good lesson for him. But I'm not sure he fully grasped that lesson.
Hmm. Yeah, he was just upset that he made him green,
Yeah.
and it had to do with pigment, where
Mhm.
Yes, I was
yeah,
Yeah.
how-
Yeah.
the puppet, and he would
Yes,
walk
indeed.
on the nose. He would grab
Oh.
the nose. That was
I
one of
love
my
him.
favorites.
me too.
She's my favorite character.
I like it. Alexandra's my favorite.
She
Yeah,
was
she's
one of
the
my
best.
She was great.
And she makes the best advice too. She's really the one that people go to for advice, and I really hope if he does write later stuff, I really hope she becomes really good friends with them.
I hope she gets her.
I'd like
PhD
to
in
see her.
psychology and help
I want
people.
to see her as a. I want to see something from her point of view too. Where
I would love to
From her
see her.
How many
fuck with
puppets does she
perspective.
have, by the way? I'm just
I-
curious.
a
I
lot.
don't know.
That was-
they were cute.
Which part you like? The Pigman Freud part?
That was funny too.
That
And
was my favorite part. Was the Pigman Freud?
There's also near the very end of the book. There's how these teachers at this new school or this RAD they call it. They go to a national organization of cultural liaisons understanding equality.
And
And I
that,
s- and
that
I
annoyed
said-
me.
and
That
I-
part annoyed me
it-
a little bit.
I can
It
understand.
irked me a little bit.
I can understand that, but if you read it, NOCLUE, no clue. I'm like, wait a minute, that's something. So I went back and I reread some there's some subtle things here on the signs like Sue 555 Sue. So I don't know if that's for like, I don't know. That was just I read everything.
That sounds good.
My legal training
The
has
whole
taught me to
thing
read
with
everything.
the Mean Streets of Southampton part was also
Yeah.
where they, because of how everybody, the way that they respond, and Jerry Craft knows that the way that
Yeah.
people are responding, I think they feel more bad for themselves than they actually do for
Other
Right.
people.
the other person. It's more so, it's not the, and I think Jerry Craft with a wink and a nod is saying that the people that are being looking to demonstrate a sense of acceptance and
Yeah.
what we would call quote unquote wokeness is not
I'm awake.
necessarily
Oh,
it's not necessarily about genuine compassion. It's about genuine consideration of one's reputation. Where if they don't feel that way, they're going to be labeled a racist. And that's not the way it should be. It should be genuine compassion for the other person.
and that's one of the tenets of civilization. And again, I am no scholar, but I'm a people watcher, and I just watch sometimes how people treat each other, and sometimes I wonder. I'm like, did you watch Mr. Rogers when you were a kid? Really? Holy words I won't use now on camera, and I'm like, did you really? Honestly, and I just see it sometimes, and I've seen families get torn apart. I've seen friendships go down the middle, and it's like I said earlier, it's okay to disagree, but you can't go on and on and on about it, and you got to respect everyone's. I don't want to say opinion, but if somebody has a stronger case than you, you got to say, all right, well, I'll concede to that, but and I think Jerry Kraft did a flippin' amazing job.
But I think
said
it's worth
flippin'.
saying that everybody has different intentions. It's not
Yes.
like everybody's going to be approaching the circumstance in a certain way. There are
Right.
probably people that are authentically, genuinely compassionate.
Right.
But that's the way it should be.
And those who are
That's
doing
the
it to
ideal.
save face.
Yeah, there are going to be people that are mainly doing it to save face, but that's not the way it should be.
And,
Exactly.
and that doesn't get you anywhere. You don't really grow from saving face.
Mm-hmm.
You just stay in one lane. You don't change. You can have different opinions, but you have to at some point.
If I may,
Excuse me, but come
No.
to Jesus moment. That type of thing.
Yeah.
There's gotta be that.
I was also going to say too, it's like a company that has, let's say, 600 plus employees, even 500, and they offer once a year a diversity picnic, or they offer a webinar or whatever, and it's like, to me that says, okay, this is something that you're not really grasping, because this is something that you can't do in one day. This is something that's going to take some time, something that's going to take team building and effort. And should it be mandatory to have these trainings? Maybe. It depends on where you are. It depends on where you work. If you're a teacher, I think that's pretty good. Yes. So you understand each student.
And make sure it's a person of color running it, not a person that looks like a palm colored.
Right.
Like it needs to be someone of color. It can't not that it can't be a white person, because sometimes a white person voice, sometimes it shouldn't be like that, but sometimes it might take a white person, but it should be a person of color running those things
And a person qualified to do
and
so.
qualified to do it.
Just
And
because
has
just
the
because
greatest
they're-
understanding.
Yeah, just because they're person of color doesn't mean they know it. You need a qualified, maybe a doctorate, because there's a lot of really smart people out there.
Oh, yes, there are. And there's also a lot of people out there who are very, very brain smart. They have a lot of brains, but they don't have the...
Social skills.
I don't... Well, that too, or the paper to back that up. And a lot of positions that are about diversity and whatnot, they want you to have a master's up. Or in some cases, it might be a certificate, a graduate certificate.
But I think if a
You gotta
person
have qualifications.
if a person does have like you said, the brain smarts, but don't have the qualifications, if they show that they know how to do it and they show they can do it, then why not?
What's your reputation? What are your credentials? That's where I'm getting at.
What did you guys make of the scene where Alexandria goes speaks up to Drew's girlfriend about, because she was wondering that how is it that you could engage in such a long, heartfelt discussion, but I'm having difficulty doing so.
Again,
And
she
she-
should go and at least get a degree in social work.
And she
Pretty
pretty much
much.
told her off. First of all, no more baked goods. Second of all,
Yes.
stop going to his basketball games or his to his sports games, and then have him come to your games, because you're doing a good job.
Is that what's called
And then
give
you'll
and take?
see, yeah, it's basically give and take.
You give me a cookie, I'll give you a cookie.
But it's a matter of a relationship being a two-way street, and Drew,
Thank you.
I don't think feels that that's the case, or he doesn't feel the. I guess he just doesn't feel the something's not genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then when she started to show that she was genuine, then he started like showing up to her games.
I don't know if that ever. Maybe it was touched upon. I don't recall it really being.
I'm just saying it would. He would.
It would, because
like then he started. Then he realized that she wasn't like overbearing,
mm-hmm.
and they seemed like leveled out a little bit, just a little bit. But I don't think he showed him going. I don't remember.
Yeah, the next book is Field Trip, where they go on a trip to Paris.
Mm.
That sounds like fun.
Which I'll definitely be checking out. Maybe this year, because I read New Kid this year, and I read Class Act this year.
Mm-hmm.
But does anybody have any final thoughts about Class Act?
Phenomenal. It's an eye opener. Yeah.
I would say it was not as good as New Kid, but I still think it was good.
Same thoughts as Josh.
All right. See, it's okay to agree to disagree.
How would we rate this? 0 to 5 stars, half stars per minute, Charlie?
I might be the one that's saying 5 stars.
Okay.
Or in my case, 5 cookies.
So you like this? What made you like this better than New Kid?
I think it touched more on the. What do you want to call it? It touched more on the. Take 3. It touched more on the lives of people who don't. Like when they, again, what I said earlier, they go to different. Each person, they live in each other's shoes. They try each. You know the saying, don't judge a person until you've been in their shoes. Walk around in someone's shoes. That right there was the turning point for me when they went to Liam's house, and then Liam came back and they got a taste of each other's medicine, and to me that was in a way a make or break for me. So, and I love the subtle signs on the side. I love the artwork alone was great.
Yeah, I like that. I like Jerry Craft and how clever he is with
and
his illustration.
Yeah, and there was just. I like how he kept with the lingo that kids are using today, and didn't use stuff like kids won't understand today. That was just something that I found to be, because lingo changes over the years, so I found that to be really nice. And it would encourage more readers, I think, at a younger age. Sorry, I stuttered there.
How about you, Tara?
4 stars, because I wasn't ready for like the point of view change yet, and it wasn't until later that I thought like this discussion thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still gonna be a 4, because I like a little bit more Jordan in there.
All right.
It was a lot less.
I give it 4 stars as well, because as I touched upon earlier, I think that if this is going to identify as episodic, then maybe this worked out. But I think that for what it's worth, we got more of the characters in New Kid, and yet I felt more. We got more, and yet it was more fulfilling, especially since the main concentration was on Jordan. Here, it seemed like it was going to be about Jordan, but maybe not about Jordan, and then it went to Drew, which it's okay if it's about Drew, but it didn't feel as fulfilling, and it didn't seem like it touched upon as many people.
I agree with that, yeah. I agree with that.
But,
also...
And Mr. Roach annoyed me much more.
Well, yes. Right. But I also would like to point out one other thing, too, which is another reason it has 5 stars. There was a lot of food involved. And yes, I love food. Food is my spirit animal. But food is also, when you have a meal with one other person or 2 other people for a family, you get to, in a way, you shut off the real world and you eat together and you talk and you make jokes and you, hey, well, how was your day going? Or how are you feeling? And, you talk it over. And there was a lot of that element in there. And again, like I said, food is my spirit animal. I liked how they had that in there.
It was nice, but it was...
I'm not trying to grasp for straws. I really think it was...
Part of it was defining.
Yeah. Like, when Liam had boxed mac and cheese, or when it was home. I don't remember, but there was a say you never had it from a box before. You've never had it. I'm misquoting exactly, but
That was a delicious mac and cheese that they
Oh,
had
yeah.
at Jordan's.
yeah, because they know how to make it and scratch, and they.
Oh, they know how to make good food.
I had food cravings, well, ever since I was old enough to walk, but still, they are more and more present in this book. So that's another reason. Thank you, Jerry Kraft, for that.
Alrighty. If you would like to check out this book, here is my copy of Class Act.
I got mine at one of the local libraries.
Alrighty, and I want to thank you for tuning into our discussion. Be sure to join us next time for another episode of Very Gladiators. For now, keep reading.
And eat.